What's going on, guys? We're going to take a look at the Nasdaq futures. We're going to kind of dive into the charts a little bit more from a technical analysis, macro perspective here. So I know a lot of you guys are day traders, a lot of you guys are scalpers, you guys predominantly trading the NQ. There's a couple of things that we need to kind of take note of here on the daily chart to kind of analyze, where realistically we should be putting our risk and how we should essentially be playing this. Now, what I've started to notice a lot, especially this week and a little bit into last week, is we are getting a lot of retail traders starting to, get the to the moon talk, right? We're getting the everything is, rising. You're getting a lot of traders making money, swinging stocks and swinging, different particular names and making very, very relatively easy money. So again, the more easier it is to kind of make money in the markets, and the more retailers you see kind of jumping on that bandwagon, is kind of a little sign that we are coming into a little bit of a period where we could have a potential pullback. Now, again, does this mean that we're going to make new lows? No, but it definitely could pull back, causing times to get a little bit harder and a little bit more trickier. Now, if you just look at the daily chart, realistically, since October the 27th, we've been pretty much straight up, right? So if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row, we had a 2-day consolidation period, back testing the 5-day moving average, 9, 10, 11, and obviously this overnight future session opening up 12. We've essentially been riding higher 12 out of 14 days, only having a 2-day kind of rest period before the next launching pad. Now, anytime you get a move this extreme, this quickly, taking out a bunch of different technical levels, you need to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to taking your trades. So if we kind of zoom to the left here and we kind of notice, look at the all-time highs that we have here, 16,062. We're currently trading at around 15,935. So we're almost just about 70 points off of these highs here going back to July. Now, if we do wind back a little bit more and we kind of zoom to the left a little bit just to kind of see the full body of work, where we actually started from in 2023, way down here at around 12,700. So the market definitely has been going in the bulls' favor. Now, the last 3 months prior to this run up, we were in a little bit of a holding pattern, right? So you can see this little bit of a wave pattern here where we're kind of going, from the top of the range down to the bottom, to the top of the range down to the bottom, before now starting to break out of these October highs and actually starting to break out from the September highs. Now, the next area of resistance is definitely going to be this 16,000 mark here, going back to July and August. But also notice on the daily chart how we're coming into a big level of supply here at the linear regression at around 16,100. So one thing that I kind of want to point out to everyone is that if we do get a gap up tomorrow, being the 15th, if you get another gap up, I would be very hesitant buying into that gap up, okay? Because what's going to happen is people who have been swing trading everything, people are going to be very excited on the gap up. They're going to hold for necessarily too longer because they think that the market's going to go higher and then it's going to pull back on you. Now, again, the market can continue just to kind of go and chug higher, but you always want to kind of take those profits into the next area of supply. And if you do not take your profits here into the next area of supply and we do start to roll over, our support is sitting down here at around 15,638 on a daily time frame. So that's around 300 points to the downside that we could potentially pull back, and the bulls are still in control. We could definitely pull back into 15,420, which is around 3, 4, 500 points lower, which the bulls would still be in control. However, if you're swinging stocks, especially on the technology side, or you're playing futures where you're trying to get in and out, scalping these things, and you're constantly looking for those bounces that we've been having right now, essentially any kind of pullback that you buy, you would have made money. You let it pull into 5-minute support, you would have made money. You let it pull into hour support, you would have made money. You let it pull into daily support, you would have made money. You're going to come to a period of time where those pullbacks where you were normally buying those bounce spots are not going to work. Now, again, it doesn't mean that we're coming all the way back down to the lows, all the way down to 14,200. But what I'm saying is you definitely have to be a little bit more cautious. So again, your area of supply is 16,100. Again, also look to those prior highs that we had in July here, 16,060s. So let's call it right in that area. I would say that, if we do want to see some type of continued rally going into the new year, we would like to pull back potentially into 15,600, and if not 15,300. Again, this is 400 to 600 points away. That would mean a 400 to 600 point kind of pullback, but it would be healthy, right? So what you would essentially want to see is a move that kind of pulls back here, kind of goes sideways for a little bit, right? Kind of goes sideways for a little bit and then starts to push up to the upside, right? This is the kind of move that potentially you would like to see. Now, again, if you don't get that, and let's say we do tomorrow, if we do gap up, right? If we do get this gap up into this area, I would not be buying into a new gap up. I would let it consolidate, and then you can kind of take those highs and kind of play these highs back down into rising support, which is going to be your 5-day moving average, which if we just kind of draw a trend line here, it's going to match up here. So if we do get some type of gap up, let those highs kind of digest, and then look for your setup for a short side position into this rising 5-day moving average. That's I think is going to be a beautiful trade. So again, just kind of wanted to give everyone a heads up on where we're at macroly on the daily time frame. If we do just look at the weekly chart, I want you guys to kind of take note, going back to these this week of July the 17th, these highs here are very, very close to being touched. We've also got this rising Bollinger Band that's also in this area as well. You can see we've been on a 3-week kind of breakout here since the bottom, coming down here and testing those October 23rd lows that kind of came into this rising 50-day moving average. So again, we do have support all the way down to around 15,000, but anything below 15,000 can definitely come back down to the 14,000s in a heartbeat. So just kind of know where you're at. The bulls are definitely in control. You definitely still want to look for some more of those pullbacks to kind of buy those bounces. But again, don't be kind of knocked off your seat if that bounce doesn't work. Just go to your strategy, go to your edge, size down, and then kind of take profits, a little bit quicker than you would normally like to take profits. And again, don't ask yourself, well, why aren't we going any higher? We've been pushing higher for the past 2.5, 3 weeks. If you have not made money to the long side and you're barely starting to ask questions now as to why you're not making money, there's a problem there. That's why, maybe you need to get with the community, get with the mentor, get with the coach, get a strategy, get something going, because you should have been making money to the long side. Again, for those of you guys who have been making good money within the last week to 2 weeks, and you've been finding things a lot easier, and you think that your strategy is just working, and it's everything's sort of starting to come together, be cautious. Don't get overconfident. Understand that you caught a good market cycle. That's not to be kind of a Debbie Downer. It's just to kind of be a realist and kind of tie you guys into what exactly is going on. It's been very, very easy to make money to the long side, especially if you're swinging any names. Any pullbacks are getting bought up and it's going higher, making a new high, a new high, a new high. It doesn't matter what name you're kind of looking at. For example, if I'll just pull up a couple of stocks that I like to trade. If you just look very quickly at something like Tesla, look at the big gap up on Tesla. Tesla started here on October the 31st, and it was even a little bit of a lagger, but coming down here from 195, currently trading at 237. Look at something like NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA came off these lows here off the 150-day simple moving average, again, October the 31st, and that price range was around $407, and we're currently trading at $498. So we've got names that have, for example, like this, that have moved up almost 100 points in the last few weeks. Just be a little bit more cautious, right? Now, again, does that mean that NVIDIA has to come all the way back down? Of course not. NVIDIA is putting in this little bit of a pause candle today. Again, finished up $10, but just notice the candlestick, the way that it finished. It definitely has room to come into 512, which is definitely going to be within that 14-point daily ATR, right? So that average true range, we could definitely see ourselves still punching up a little bit higher into the low 500s before we do take a back test. Right now, our daily support is sitting at 481 as well as 468. So again, if you do get caught, let's say buying a new gap up on NVIDIA and you're stuck somewhere in the 500s, this can start to pull back 20, 30 points and not even blink an eye. So again, be very careful the closer we get to some of these macro supports on our supply zones on the daily time frame. Again, if you guys want to trade with me each and every single day live, want access to the community and my strategies, you want to get access to just learning from someone who has kind of been there, kind of done that with the help of the community, definitely join Evolution Traders. That link is going to be down in the description box below, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.